Imagine this. The room is dark, and all you can hear is the sound of your own breath, ragged, uneven, racing like a storm you can't escape. Your chest tightens, your thoughts spin, and it feels like the walls are closing in. But then, in the stillness, a whisper cuts through the chaos, soft as a breeze. You're not alone in this. Hello, I'm Mario Perez from the channel Evidence of the Word, and today we're stepping into something powerful together. What if I told you that the silence you've been running from, the quiet you drown out with noise, holds the peace you've been aching for? Think about that for a moment. All those restless nights, the weight you carry, the questions that won't let you rest. What if the answer isn't out there in the rush of the world, but right here, waiting in the hush? Close your eyes and feel the weight slip off your shoulders just for a second. This isn't about escaping life. It's about finding a strength you didn't know you had. So, take a deep breath with me, and let's uncover the peace that rises in the silence of the chosen. And now let's go a little deeper. You've felt it, haven't you? That storm inside that doesn't seem to quiet down. It's like carrying an entire sky of gray clouds on your shoulders, heavy with worries that pile up day after day. Maybe it's the tightness in your chest when the morning starts, or the way your mind races at night, chasing shadows you can't catch. I know how that feels. Like the world keeps spinning, but you're stuck, longing for a stillness you're not even sure exists anymore. Close your eyes and feel the weight easing off your shoulders for a moment. Just let it linger there, soft and real. This isn't just about the noise around you, it's the chaos within, the kind that makes you wonder if peace is a gift meant for someone else. But here's where it begins to shift. That ache, that restlessness. It's not a sign you're broken. It's a whisper from your soul calling you to something greater. Picture this. Your heart is like a lantern flickering in the wind, still burning even when the gusts try to snuff it out. You've been searching, haven't you? Maybe in prayer, maybe in the quiet corners of your day, reaching for a calm that feels just out of grasp. I've been there too, the days when the weight feels too much, when even hope seems like a distant star. But what if that longing is the first step? What if it's not about fixing everything at once, but about listening to what's already stirring inside you? Breathe deep with me now and let the tension dissolve little by little. This journey isn't about running from the storm. It's about finding the courage to stand in it, to feel the rain and still know you're held. You're not alone in this longing for peace. It's woven into who you are, a thread of light, waiting to unravel. So let's take that step together, into the heart of what's been weighing you down, because that's where the real story begins. But here's where the battle really takes shape. You've felt that pull toward peace, that quiet thread of light tugging at your heart. But then the waves crash in again, don't they? It's the anxiety that coils around your thoughts like vines on an old tree, tightening every time you try to break free. You've had those moments, maybe in the stillness of prayer, maybe staring out a window, where you ask, why does peace feel so far away even when I reach for it? I know that ache. It's the kind that makes you question if you're doing something wrong, if faith alone should be enough to lift the burden. The truth is, this isn't just a fleeting worry. It's a struggle that tests everything you hold on to. Picture your mind as a restless sea, waves crashing over one another, pulling you under just when you think you've caught your breath. You've tried to outrun it, to fill the silence with anything that drowns out the noise inside. But it keeps coming back, doesn't it? Let your shoulders relax for a moment now and feel the heaviness soften, even just a little. This is the challenge, not the world out there, but the fight within, where doubt whispers louder than hope, where every step toward calm feels like wading through mud. Have you ever wondered why it's so hard to let go? Why the tension clings like a shadow you can't shake? It's because this isn't just about quieting your mind, it's about facing what's beneath the surface. Maybe it's the fear of what tomorrow holds, or the echo of a yesterday you can't change. I've felt that too, the nights when the questions pile up like stones, heavy and cold. But here's the thing that shifts everything. This struggle isn't a sign you've lost your way. It's the ground where your strength is forged. Think of it like a potter molding clay. Every press, every turn shapes something new even when it hurts. You're not failing because the waves keep coming. You're growing because you're still here, still reaching. So, take a slow breath with me and imagine that restless sea starting to settle just for a moment. This isn't the end of the fight. It's where you begin to see what you're truly made of. And as we move forward, we'll uncover how that quiet strength starts to rise not in spite of the storm, but because of it. And now let's take that next step together, into the quiet where something new begins to stir. You've faced the storm, felt its weight, and here you are, still standing, still breathing. That's no small thing. So what happens when you stop running from the waves and start wading through them? It's not about silencing everything at once. It's about finding the courage to pause. Try this with me. Take a deep breath, hold it for a second, and let it out slow, feeling the tension melt away bit by bit. Picture your soul like dry soil after a long drought, cracked, thirsty, waiting. You start small, don't you? Maybe it's a moment in the morning when you sit still, letting the world fade for just 5 minutes. Or maybe it's whispering a prayer, not for answers, but for strength to keep going. Each pause is like dropping a seed into that parched ground. Tiny, fragile but alive with possibility. I've had days when sitting still felt impossible, when my mind buzzed like a hive of restless bees. But then I'd try again, and something shifted. Just a flicker at first, a whisper of calm I hadn't noticed before. What would happen if you trusted that flicker? Imagine it growing, like roots reaching down into the earth, steady and unseen. This isn't about forcing peace to show up, it's about making room for it. Scripture says, "Seek and you will find," but sometimes seeking means stopping long enough to listen. So let's go further. Picture a river carving its way through stone. It doesn't rush or fight, it flows, patient and persistent, shaping the rock over time. That's you right now, learning to flow through the hard places, not with loud effort, but with quiet resolve. Try this. Next time the worry creeps in, don't push it away. Sit with it, breathe through it, and ask, "What are you here to teach me?" I've done that, and it's like turning on a small light in a dark room. Suddenly you see things differently. The anxiety doesn't vanish, but it starts to lose its grip, doesn't it? Concentrate on this moment with me. Feel your feet on the ground, your breath moving steady and sure. This is where the climb begins, not up a mountain you can't scale, but into a stillness that holds you up. You're not chasing some far-off miracle, you're building it, one quiet breath at a time. I've seen it in my own life. Those little acts of trust, those moments of surrender, they stack up like stones marking a path. And before you know it, you're not just surviving the storm, you're learning to dance in its rain. So let's keep going, because what comes next is where that flicker of calm turns into something you can hold on to, a light that doesn't fade. And here's where everything begins to turn. You've been planting those seeds, taking those quiet breaths, and now in the stillness, something breaks through, like a dawn you didn't see coming. Listen to this. You sit down one day, maybe with a cup of coffee growing cold, or maybe just staring at the ceiling, and you let the silence wrap around you. Not fighting it, not filling it, just letting it be. And then, like a ray of light piercing through heavy fog, it hits you. The peace you've been chasing isn't something you have to hunt down. It's already there, woven into the fabric of who you are. Take a moment with me. Close your eyes and listen to your own breath. Notice how the calm starts to seep in, slow and steady. I've had that moment too, when the noise faded and I heard it clear as a bell. You are enough. Not because everything's perfect, not because the storm's gone, but because there's a strength inside you that doesn't bend, even when the winds howl. Scripture whispers it too in Psalm 46, "Be still and know that I am God." That's not just a command, it's an invitation to step into the quiet and find what's been holding you all along. Imagine this. Your heart's like a deep well, and down there beneath the ripples of worry, the water's clear and still. You don't have to fix it all or figure it out. This peace isn't earned, it's given. I remember a day when I stopped striving, stopped asking why, and just sat there, letting the questions drift away like leaves on a stream. And in that space I felt it, a warmth, a steadiness I couldn't explain. What if you let yourself feel that too? Picture a soft light wrapping around you now, gentle but sure, melting the doubts that cling like frost. This is your awakening, not loud or dramatic, but a quiet unfolding like a flower opening to the sun. The anxiety is still there, hovering at the edges, but it doesn't own you anymore. You're starting to see it for what it is, a visitor, not a master. Let that sink in for a second. Breathe deep and feel the truth settle into your bones. This isn't the end of the journey, but it's the moment you realize you're not lost in the storm. You're the one steering through it. And as that light grows brighter, you're about to step into something even greater, something that lifts you higher than you ever thought you could go. And now we rise into the heart of it, the moment where everything you've been building comes alive. That light you've started to feel, that quiet strength you've uncovered, it's not just a flicker anymore. It's a fire, steady and warm, burning through the haze. Picture this with me. You're standing in that silence you've learned to trust, and the anxiety that once towered over you begins to crumble, like ashes scattered by a gentle wind. Let it go now. Breathe out slow and imagine that weight dissolving, drifting away like mist in the morning sun. I've stood in that place too, where the heaviness I carried for so long finally started to lift, and I could feel my shoulders lighten, my chest expand with something new. This isn't about pretending the storm never happened. It's about seeing it shrink in the rearview mirror as you step forward. You've been chosen for this, not to be crushed, but to rise. Feel that truth settle in. Let your hands relax. Let the tension unwind from your jaw, and sense the peace flooding through you like a river finding its way home. This is your moment. The doubts, the restless nights, the questions, they don't disappear, but they don't rule you anymore. Imagine them falling away one by one, like stones slipping from a cliff into the sea below. I know how hard it is to believe sometimes. Those days when the fight feels endless, but right here, right now, you're choosing something greater. Lift your head with me, take a deep breath and feel it. You're not just surviving, you're thriving. Scripture echoes this in Isaiah. Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. That's you rising. Not because the struggle's gone, but because you found the wings to fly above it. Let's hold that image. Your spirit soaring, the wind lifting you higher, the chaos fading beneath you. This transformation isn't loud or forced. It's a quiet victory built breath by breath, trust by trust. I've seen it in my own life. Those times when I stopped wrestling and started resting, and suddenly the pieces fell into place. You're there now, standing taller, not because you've fixed everything, but because you've let go of what doesn't serve you. Imagine a sky clearing after days of rain, the clouds parting to reveal a blue so deep it takes your breath away. That's what's happening inside you, a clearing, a release, a reclaiming of your own power. So let it all out. Exhale the last of that old weight and feel the lightness take over, like a feather caught in an updraft. This is your climax, your turning point, where the silence you once feared becomes the place you find your strength. And as we move toward the end, you'll see how this peace isn't just a gift. It's a foundation you can build on step by steady step. And so here we are at the edge of something beautiful, something lasting. You've climbed through the storm, felt the light break through, and now you stand on solid ground, not because the winds have stopped, but because you've learned to root yourself deeper. Let this settle in with me. The silence you've come to embrace isn't empty. It's alive with the voice of God, whispering strength into every corner of your being. Take a moment now. Let your shoulders drop. Allow yourself to just be here and feel that peace without rushing, without demands. This is your foundation, built not on fleeting moments, but on a truth that holds steady. You are stronger than the chaos that tries to shake you. Picture yourself like an ancient tree, its roots twisting deep into the earth, drawing life even when the seasons turn harsh. That's who you are, resilient, chosen, alive, with a quiet power that no storm can uproot. So here's what I want you to carry forward. Start today. Give the silence 5 minutes. Sit with it, breathe in it, and see what it reveals. It's not about erasing every worry. It's about letting the stillness show you what's real. I found that in my own walk. Those small sacred pauses where the noise fades and the whispers of hope grow loud. What if you let that become your rhythm? Scripture promises in John 16:33, "In this world you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world." That's your anchor, not the absence of trouble, but the presence of a peace that overcomes it. Imagine your life like a horizon after a long night. The first streaks of gold painting the sky, a promise that the dark doesn't get the final word. You've tasted that now, haven't you? So let's end here with this. Allow yourself a moment of calm right now. No hurry, no pressure. Just you and the quiet strength you've uncovered. This isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of walking taller, breathing freer, living from a place where peace isn't just a visitor but a home. You're ready for that, and it's already yours.